Well, we're going to speak to Lee Doddridge now. He's a security expert and joins us from Cardiff. Lee, this was a case of people using a vehicle, obviously anyone could get hold of, and some knives. Just how difficult is it to stop this sort of attack?
Well, it's almost impossible to stop this sort of attack from happening. They're just common items, and it fits with al-Baghdadi's message last year of what he termed as household terrorism, for supporters to use whatever they've got at hand, so their vehicles, knives, even down to axes and hammers. So it is very, very difficult to defend against. However, as we saw effectively last night, we can respond to it.
And how about the counterintelligence operations? Because these sorts of people aren't necessarily part of any network, are they?
Not necessarily so at the moment. I mean, obviously the investigation would determine whether they have a wider network or not. Because these incidents happen so quickly, it is very, very hard for us to try and gather any intelligence around it. Unlike when we had the awful atrocities on 7/7 with the attacks on the tube, you know, there was plenty of opportunities then to obviously pick up on intelligence with prior reconnaissance, putting the devices together. But we know with these types of incidents, pop-ups as they're generally called, it is very, very hard to do anything about that. And I mean, Israel have seen people being radicalised and carry out similar attacks all within 24 hours.
So from what you're saying then, the main thing is to stop the radicalisation in the first place. Now, Theresa May's talking about having more control over the internet to prevent radicalisation on that forum. Is that something you think should be welcomed?
It will be welcome, but it is only one small part of you know what we need to review. I mean, the internet is so vast and so much material on there, but also combined with that is the complication of the amount now of social media apps. You know, it's all encrypted messaging, and even those providers, you know, are unable to determine what communications is going through without actually having the recipient's handset in the hand. So even for a supplier maybe like WhatsApp, you know, they offer an encrypted service that even they themselves cannot intercept.
What sort of pressure are the authorities under at the moment to keep us safe? It must be an almost impossible job.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's something unfortunately that's especially throughout Europe. You know, that we've faced this for quite some time. We have got extremely you know, really, really good intelligence sources and obviously security services and police. And, you know, it's not just in the UK, but we've seen that demonstrated throughout Europe now. But unfortunately, you know, there is so much more that we now have to look at and do. The majority, you know, really that we focus on is the response to it. We saw that effectively yesterday in Manchester. Now, if we see how we've gained grounds in that, you know, if you look back at Mumbai, which was really our first maraudering firearms attack, you see that it took almost 2 days for the police to respond and deal with. And then last night we saw an 8-minute response, and obviously that threat neutralised. So we've made some terrific ground there. You know, the radicalisation part is a key area that we're going to have to focus on, and really open that up to the community to say, you know, how do we do this?
And if there was one thing that you could do if you were in charge of all this, what was the one thing you would do first of all?
Well, I think it's very hard to pinpoint anything in particular. One of the, I suppose if I was to be put on the spot, one of the main things we'd have to do is make sure that every police force, specifically in the UK, can offer the same response as we saw effectively last night in the Metropolitan Police.
Lee Doddridge, thank you very much indeed.